Hello everyone, I'm Rio, the coach of the Jalisco Hawluchas, bringing you week 1 of season 12 of the ATBA, and this week our opponent is Fly. So the audio of my video was very scuffed, and I have to do a post commentary. So, without further ado, let's get into the match. I brought these 6 Pokemon mostly just to break through Fly's team because the game plan is to set up hazards and just chip everything to the point that Dragonite's Choice Banded E-Speed takes everything out. So he leads with the Armrouge, I lead with the Primeape. Here I'm debating whether or not I would trade my Primeape for rocks. And ultimately, I think I do make that trade because I need my hazards to stay. So, Fly switches out to his Kingambit. I get my rocks up. I'm not entirely sure why he brought in the Kingambit, as I could have used any fighting type to Oko it, but I guess he was expecting me not to use any fighting moves because I was facing Armrouge. So I'm just gonna take this opportunity to bulk up, and Fly just switches into Giselle. So, the Oricorio is the one mon I didn't want Fly to bring, because it's so difficult to prepare for since it has 4 different forms. But ultimately, I take an Air Slash, and I know I'm bulky enough, and I KO it with a Rage Fist. So, currently we're 6-5 in the lead, and I'm feeling pretty confident. But then he brings in the Greninja, and I was like, maybe I should bring in the Amoonguss, and because it can take a Specs Ice Beam. But then I calc and I see that non-Specs Hydro Pump from Greninja does not Oko me. So I was like, I'm willing to gamble, and I'm gonna click Drain Punch. And so he goes for Surf, not Hydro Pump. However, he was Life Orb, and I barely lived, and I KO him back with the Drain Punch. So, right from the start, Primeape is putting in the work. He's taking down 2 team members, and he's put up rocks. He's working overtime. So yeah, this Primeape is insane. And I'm just waiting for him to bring his third mon. I'm expecting the Dashman, mostly because I can't really hit it that hard other than the 100 base power Rage Fist. So I contemplate on switching, but I think I wanted to get bulkier, mostly because I anticipated this Dashman to be a defensive set and not really a offensive set. So I'm thinking a while, and I'm what I should do, and ultimately I decided to bulk up. But it turns out that this Dashman is offensive, and yeah, it cleanly knocks me out. So I'm okay, I should bring in my Fortress, because I did the calcs. It's if he has Fire Fang, I might take a lot of damage, but I won't get knocked out. So yeah, I'll take this opportunity, set up my Toxic Spikes, so that Goodra, the Dashman, and the Armrouge all get poisoned once they come back. That's if none of them have heavy duty boots. So I see this Goodra has leftovers. It's gonna be annoying, but at least it'll get poisoned if it gets switched out and brought back in. So I'm okay, let me play around with it. Let me use my Regen Core, bring in Slowbro, take the flamethrower that he's gonna throw at me, and I take nothing. The bro is the wall. He's way too bulky. So I'm gonna set up a future sight, maybe catch him off guard down the road, and I take a T-Bolt from the Goodra. I'm still pretty healthy. I'm gonna take this opportunity to switch into Imposter the Amoonguss, and I was thinking about maybe I can throw a Sludge Bomb and poison this, but I think I wanted to double back to Slowbro because I don't want him to go into the Kingambit. And I know Slowbro doesn't have a great matchup versus the Kingambit, but I know I can take one kowtow cleave and take it very low with body press. So he takes the future sight really well, and I just set another one up, and Fly switches out into Miyamoto, the King Gambit, and here is where I want to body press it. I want to catch it off guard. I'm sure Fly knew about this set, but I think because of how specially bulky my Slowbro was, he didn't anticipate it, or maybe he thought I would switch out and he threw up the rocks. So I get a body press off, and he's very low now. Since he set up the rocks, I'm just going to switch into my fortress and just get rid of the hazards on my end, because Dragonite and Cinderace don't have heavy duty boots. So it's not going to be a good time for me if those rocks stay up. He switches into a Dachshund. It gets poisoned, but I see that it had a Lumberry, which is interesting. But yeah, I go into my fortress, and the Dachshund takes a really strong future sight. And from here, I'm like, okay, I can rapid spin. I'll get rid of the rocks. I can KO the Dachshund, or at least get some chip off on a different Pokemon. He uses Crunch, so I assume he either predicted for me to go Slowbro or doesn't have the Fire Fang. So there goes the kill for Fortress. And we don't have any hazards on our side. On Fly side, he has Rocks and Toxic Spike, so it's looking really good for Dragonite to come in later and just like pick up what's left over. So he brings in the Armarouge. I'm gonna like, okay, you're gonna use a fire move. Let's go into my Slowbro. And he busted out the Fire Spin. When I first saw that, I'm like, oh no, what is this man cooking? Something sinister gonna happen. And so like, I see he did so much damage with the Fire Spin, so I'm like, oh, he's Binding Band. That's some nice tech. And here I'm contemplating on using Surf if he Terra Fires or just stays like this, so that he takes a lot of damage. But if he Terra Grass, I can revenge this with my Cinderace. So that's why ultimately I decided to just go with the Surf. I didn't want Fly to Calm Mind or do any of that. I'd rather just take an Energy Ball. And I live because of the Assault Vest. I do some little bit chip, plus the poison, and then the Fire Spin takes me out. So that was a really nice tech Fly. I never expected this. I don't know what to say. You caught me off guard. But yeah, I send out my Cinderace because I wanted to go through Dragonite, but in my head I thought the Dachshund was still around, but at this point it was dead to the fortress. So yeah, here I'm just gonna do the safe U-turn. If he switches, I get initiative. If he stays, then Armarouge is gone. I get a crit. It didn't matter unless he's like super bulky, but I doubt it mattered, to be honest. But here I just go into my Dragonite, anticipating that him to bring the Dachshund back out, but like I said, it's already dead. But in my head it was still alive for some reason. So here I'm like, maybe I should play it safe and go into my Amoonguss, because it can take anything and just, you know, stall it out. But then I'm like, nah, let's have some fun with Dragonite. So ultimately I Terra and whip out the Choice Banded Outrage. And I had to Terra just in case he was like faster than me. I don't want him to like crit Draco Meteor me, so yeah. So Gudra's down, and then he brings out the King Gambit. At this range, a Choice Bandit Outrage should knock it out, but first he Sucker Punches me and takes a quarter of my health, but then I knock him out. After that, I see that I've won the match, and I'm like, where's the Dachshund? but it died. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. My next week is Lucas. That's a very tough opponent, and I want to give a big shout out to Fly for giving me a great match. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.